Robin Proper gets sent off after 10 minutes in the first leg at Ibrox.
Then they get a penalty for virtually nothing.
For an astonishing penalty kick, where they've actually tried their best to come up with that. And there was no argument. There can be no argument made that was, and they did use the phrase deliberate handball. Yeah. It just wasn't. No. Anybody that knows anything about anything knows that wasn't the case. Do you think there's jiggery pokery? Do you think it's possible?
How can it be? I mean, we're away. No, in all seriousness, I mean, we're away if we think that could genuinely happen. No, that UEFA.
Why do you think Jose Mourinho said what he said then?
Because he probably does think there's something in it. No, the way he thinks. And as you say, just there'll be a bit of bitterness there about going out. He's been involved in things in the past with refs. I remember Anthony Taylor on was it Conference League final or the Europa League final?
Aye, but he was waiting for him in the car.
Aye. So it's maybe not as surprising.
We need to get Josie up here, don't we? We need to get Josie in Scotland,
100%.
Don't we?
I tried my best, Daniel.
You did.
Fenerbahce game to try and get him to Glasgow. So listen, Rangers are up against it going there, but I think if they can produce the kind of performance they did in Turkey, then they've got every chance of getting through.
I think, Scott, I think I'm hearing what you're saying, and I think what you're suggesting is, see if you can get a man sent off after 10 minutes, and it was 10 minutes because that's when the foul was made. I know it was 12 minutes when Proper ended up going off the pitch, but there was still those 2 minutes were added on at the end anyway. So 80 minutes with 10 men, then that penalty kick, disgraceful decision, and then Sterling having to hobble off and Rangers are down to 9. I think what you're suggesting is to come through all of that unscathed in the first leg. It feels as if something might be brewing here for Rangers in this competition. 100%. And I agree with you. And I'd also go as far as to say is, and I've said it frequently, this Rangers squad, for whatever reason, appears to be almost designed to play fast-hitting, counter-attack European football away from home. Yeah, that's almost where it's at its most comfortable.
The best thing for Rangers, I think, is that Bilbao they will believe that they're going through. I think they will.
They think they've done enough from the first leg.
I think they will believe 0-0 is fine. We'll get Rangers didn't create too many chances, albeit down to 10 men. Once we get them back to our place, they'll be fine. Rangers need to hope that's their mindset, because that's dangerous. Aye. And I think, obviously, a lot was made about Barry Ferguson's team selection at the weekend, making the 9 changes. They obviously get the last-minute equaliser. And I think that will ultimately now will have helped them, because guys like Raskin and Czerny, for instance, 2 of the big players that we've been talking about, 2 of their best players this season, will go to Bilbao, hopefully for them, feeling fresh. And listen, Proper is suspended. Sterling been out as a blow. Sort of get a kind of defensive conundrum, but I can see him going pretty much exactly the way he did in Fenerbahce, and going with the 5 at the back. Tavernier,
the 3 centre-halves.
Tavernier, Suter, Balogun. I think he'll need to play Yilmaz at right back and Jeffrey at left back. He's 3 in midfield, probably Diomande, Raskin and Barron. With Czerny off, Dessers up front.
There's a couple of people in the comments, sorry to jump in, but saying who's in goals, I mean, I would just assume it's going to be Liam Kelly, isn't it?
The shot's his.
It is. Has to be.
So, yeah, I don't think there's even an argument. I think, do you know what I genuinely believe? Having made the decision to take Jack Butland out of the firing line for the first leg, I think it would have been almost condescending of Barry Ferguson to put Butland in for Aberdeen and say, aye, because you're part of my second string.
Of course.
I don't think you could do that to Jack Butland. I don't think he would have deserved that.
You want Kelly to get a wee bit of
and Kelly, you want to get as many minutes in his glove bag as he can. But I do think that, if you imagine how patronising that would be if you made that decision to take Jack Butland out, which was a huge decision, and then said, well, by the way, it's okay because I'm sending my second team out, so you can get 90 minutes up there and we'll put Liam Kelly back in on the Thursday night. So for that reason alone, it's strange because the rest of the team was changed, but the fact that Liam Kelly stayed in, to me, was Barry Ferguson's way of saying, and that's the way it shall remain until such times as, you know, if Liam Kelly has a sort of a Butland-esque incident, even then he'd probably need to have a couple. I think that Liam Kelly, you know, is in the box seat now. That doesn't mean that Butland's not going to get another game at some point this season, because pretty soon they're going to be playing league games that don't matter anything. Yeah. So they can maybe share it about a little bit. But for now, for this particular period of the season, where there is something on it, there's something at stake, there's something for Rangers to reach out there and try and grab. I fully expect that Liam Kelly stays where he is for the time being.
Plus, Kelly's not played a lot recently, so that 90 minutes at Aberdeen would have helped him, you'd have thought.
Yeah.
Going back to
you just couldn't do that at Jack Butland. That'd have been really disrespectful if you took him out, you know, had the conversation, made it clear that you weren't happy with him, and then you threw him back in there at Aberdeen. I think that would have been, you know, one was a slap in the face, and Barry Ferguson has said time and time again he's not afraid to make big decisions, and clearly he's not. But I think that would have been a boot in the homage to go with a slap in the face. Yeah. And I don't think Jack Butland was deserving of that.
Just to go back to the conspiracy theory, right? I love a conspiracy theory, but a few people saying this, it was definitely a red card last week. The penalty was one thing, but have we agreed that Proper deserved to get sent off?
I said that I agreed when VAR gets involved, and when VAR point out to the referee that there's probably going to be a shot on goal, there's probably a clear goal scoring opportunity. At that point, I'm saying once VAR has got in the ear of the referee and made that point to him, it can only end one way. But I felt at real speed, at full speed, at real time, I thought a booking was, you know, more than adequate.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, having watched that a million times now, you probably need to say it as a red card denying a goal scoring.
You're certainly not going to you're not going to say to VAR, no, you're wrong, because if you're looking at that, you would go, do you know what, there is a fair chance.
But it's just that you see so few of those incidents, don't you? But it's just a tackle on the edge of the box. You never think that's going to be a red card unless it's a lunge, you know, a two-footed. It was just a kind of bog standard tackle.
Aye, but see, having said that, see the ball that Proper gives Balogun the hospital pass to put him in that, he's probably worth a booking for that as well. So all in all, it probably was adding up to a red card offence. And by the way, I have to tell you, Rangers were probably better off without him. He's a liability.